Hello art friends, Miss Larrabee here with another art lesson. This week we're going to talk all about shapes and colors. The supplies you'll need are a marker, a pen would work, a colored pencil, even a black crayon would be fine, and something to color with. I have oil pastels here, maybe you have crayons at home, marker would be fine. You could even do watercolor or paint if you would like. I'm going to set these out of the way. This week we're going to be looking at artist Klee. Here's an example of his artwork. Mr. Klee was a Swiss artist. He was born in 1879, about 140 years ago. Mr. Klee has a series of artwork all about the subject of castles. And this is one of his pieces of artwork called Castle in the Sun. And you notice all the different shapes and colors. You can see the circle in the sky for the sun. We're going to use this as our inspiration today as we build our own castles from shapes. Just as a reminder, some of my kinder and first graders will remember at the start of this year, or maybe you did it last year with me, you got these square sheets of paper and we practiced folding them. We could fold it corner to corner to make a triangle. We would fold it up and down, vertical, to make a rectangle. We could fold that horizontal and get a square. We even took our square paper and we practiced cutting the corners off to create a circle. I just wanted to bring that up because we're going to be doing something very similar today. Instead of cutting shapes, we're going to be drawing the shapes. And we're going to create our own castles, something like this. So besides the marker and the colors, you're also going to need 2 sheets of paper. One will be paper just to practice on, and one will be to do your artwork on. I wanted to show you this example because you can see 2 different kinds of paper that artists can use for their artwork. Maybe you want to use something from the newspaper, like this, or this is a piece of notebook paper. I'm going to be using copy paper for my lesson today, just because it's easier for you to see. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to divide our copy paper into 4 sections just by folding. So I'm going to fold side to side, which is horizontal, and I'm going to fold up and down, which is vertical. And I'm just making a crease. The reason I'm doing this is it's going to give me 4 sections to my paper. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we're going to take each of these sections and we're going to practice drawing our shapes. So take your pen. We're going to start in this first section here. And we're just going to draw some simple shapes. Why don't you draw along with me? If you need to pause the video, go grab your supplies. Let's do this part together. Draw a circle. And now draw a triangle. Triangle has 3 sides. The word tri actually means 3. Triangle. Now we're going to draw a square. A square has 4 even sides. And let's try a rectangle. It has 4 sides, but 2 of its sides are longer. Okay, so these are just our basic shapes. I know you guys probably know way more shapes than that. We're going to stick with these for right now. Let's practice in this square some different ways to do triangle. So we could do triangle in a pattern. I'm just putting my triangle side by side. We could start with the square and just how we folded our paper. This time we're just going to draw a line. And our square turns into 2 triangles. We could go back and add another line this way, and now we have 4 triangles. What if we started with a rectangle and we added triangles inside of it? Oop, I'm only going to be able to get one side there. It created triangles on the bottom and triangles on the top. All right, so there's triangles. Let's work with square for a little while. Draw a square on your paper. What if we added a horizontal line side to side and a vertical line up and down? You guys remember our song? That gives us 4 small squares inside a larger triangle. Oh my goodness, why do I keep calling it triangle? Inside a larger square. Silly Miss Larrabee, that's a square. So we get 4 small squares inside 1 large square. All right, let's try this. What if we drew squares side by side? We're creating a pattern, much like we did with our triangles at the top. Okay, now I want you to draw a bigger square. Try to fill up all the space that's left. This time, instead of just doing 1 line, we're going to do 2 horizontal side to side lines and 2 vertical up and down lines. And now we have a bunch of smaller squares inside of a large square. Okay, in our last square, or our last rectangle here, we're going to build rectangles. You got it. Draw 1 large rectangle. And very similar to what we did here on our square, we're going to do 1 horizontal line in the middle and 1 vertical line in the middle. Over here, when we had a square and we divided it, we got more squares. Here, when we have a rectangle and we divided it, we got more rectangles. What if we stack our rectangles, one on top of the other? That makes a kind of neat pattern as well. Very cool. All right, so I want you to keep this practice sheet nearby. We're going to use it as inspiration as we begin to build our castle. I'm going to set mine off to the side, but I'm keeping it where I can see it. Go ahead and grab the paper that you're going to use for your artwork. Remember, it could be copy paper like I'm using. It could be newspaper. It could be notebook paper. You could even use the back of a cereal box. The first thing we're going to do with our castle, we're going to start with the foundation. That's the bottom of our castle. That's the part of the castle a builder would start with as well. We want to make our foundation strong. We're going to start down here. We're going to use kind of big shapes to do this, and then we're going to divide them into smaller shapes, just like we did on our practice paper. You are welcome to work along with me, but if you want to just watch what I'm doing and then come back and build your own or build something different as we're going through it together, that's fine too. I'd love to see what you dream up, what shapes you choose to put together. I'm going to start my castle with a square on the foundation. And beside this square, I'm going to add a large rectangle. That takes up a lot of my space. But I'm going to come back now and I'm going to divide those spaces into smaller. I'm going to divide this rectangle into smaller rectangles. And then I'm going to take the top of this and I think I'm going to add those triangles. Kind of looks like zigzags, doesn't it? I added triangles inside. Maybe I just want to divide this one even smaller. I kind of like that. I have a large rectangle and 2 small rectangles. Okay, beside it, I'm going to divide this into a tall rectangle. And I'm going to add 2, I think these are more like rectangles, huh, on top. And let's see, I want to add a triangle over here. Do you see how we're just starting to build our castle just by using these different shapes? I'm going to add a square on top. I'm going to have my castle start to get taller. You know what, maybe I'll go ahead. I'm going to let this go all the way to the side of my castle here. Using my vertical and horizontal lines. Maybe I'll just divide this one in half. I divided my square into 2 triangles. And I'm going to build a tower on top. And in this tower, I'm going to divide extra lines. I bet you guys are getting the idea. So this tower is really tall. I think I need another tall tower on this side. So I'm going to add some more. And I'm going to leave myself enough room to add a triangle on top for a roof. And I think I'll add 2 small triangles here for roofs. And maybe I'll just put a square in the middle so someone could look out the tower. I probably would go back in. Looks like this section might need a little more shape to it. What if I just stacked a bunch of squares on top of each other? And then what if I divided these squares? Oh, I made a zigzag pattern again. All right. After this, I would take my colors. I have pastels, and I would start adding color in. Oh, I almost forgot something. This piece of artwork, just as a reminder, is called Castle and the Sun. What did Miss Larrabee forget? I forgot to add a sun to my sky. I have space right here. I'm going to add a big circle. All right, now it's your turn to build and to color in. Let's go back. Oh, I wanted to show you this. I wanted to show you some samples of it already colored in. I like how in this sample, the artist used some spaces to stay blank. That looks kind of neat. She didn't color in every space. And maybe on this one is colored in all the way. I really like how this artist colored very carefully, used good workmanship. Her colors go in the same lines. That's kind of neat too. And the sun's in the sky. Maybe you would want to color the background. I can't wait to see what your castles look like. You can email me pictures, or you're welcome to share them if you can with your teacher, maybe through Seesaw or by email, and I'll get to see them on there too. All right, my artists, have fun creating.